also hear evidence from a person named Angelica Gordon. And Angelica Gordon will tell you that she was present in the apartment with Crystal Cortez, Brenda Delgado, and Christopher Love as they're planning this offense. At the end of this trial, we will have shown you beyond all reasonable doubt that Kendra Hatcher is dead, and she's dead because of the actions of one person, or the planning of one person, the desire of one person. Sitting right there.
Mr. Brooks, Mr. Miller?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you, Mayor. Please, of course. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Dr. Hatcher is dead, and she shouldn't be. But she is not dead because of Brenda Delgado. She is dead because of Crystal Cortez and a man named Christopher Love. You're never going to see Christopher Love. That is why she is dead, and she shouldn't be. She is dead because Crystal Cortez saw an opportunity to rob, and then the robbery went bad, and Dr. Hatcher ended up dead. She was there, they will tell you, and you'll hear the police say, well, she didn't have any motive. Why does anybody walk into a 7-Eleven and point a gun at a clerk knowing they don't have but $20? I don't know. Why do people do any of the things they do? They will say that Brenda Delgado was an obsessed ex-girlfriend. She was. They will say that Brenda Delgado at times stalked Dr. Peniagua, her ex-boyfriend. She did. They will say at times she used the internet to what they call cyber stalking. They will say at times she cyber stalked him. She did. She's not accused of any of that. They will say that she made statements to various people who will come in here and testify, that she made statements about wanting to hurt or kill her ex-boyfriend, Dr. Peniagua. They will say that she made similar statements about Dr. Hatcher. No one ever thought anything of this at all. These people didn't call the police. They didn't think anything of it. Until Dr. Hatcher ended up dead. And then all of a sudden, the freight train starts rolling in that snowball of assumptions and accusations. And then, whoa, hold on, she said this, and now all of a sudden you start thinking. And this led to gut feelings. This led to hunches. And it did the same thing to the police. And the funny thing about a gut feeling is, once you get a gut feeling, the only evidence you see is what enforces and reinforces that gut feeling. That is human nature, and that is what happened here. Your job as jurors is to not be drawn into that. Your job is to put aside gut feelings. Gut feelings don't count in a courtroom. You're going to hear a horrible tale about a woman who, by every account there is, was an incredible woman. We're all human. I mean, we're here, we're human. There was a juror, I don't even remember if that juror made it, but anyway, there was a juror that asked, can we be emotional? Yes, people are going to be emotional. There's no way you're going to hear this story and not be drawn into the emotion. That's just, we're human. You're going to have to, as jurors, say, all right, I am emotional. I do care. Dr. Hatcher's dead. Dr. Hatcher shouldn't be dead. But I have to judge this case objectively on the facts, not by gut feelings. I have to do it. You're going to have to put yourselves above it. Every single one of you was told this Friday that you can do that, or you wouldn't be here now. I mean, obviously you wouldn't. There was a whole courtroom full of people. You're the only ones left. They say that she was meaning Brenda, that she was the one who must have done it because she had motive. The motive was she's an obsessed ex-girlfriend. I don't know, and I don't know that anybody keeps stats on it, but I don't know how many obsessed ex-girlfriends and ex-boyfriends and ex-wives and ex-husbands there are in the United States of America. The number is probably staggering. How many times does anybody get killed over that? It's not to say that it's impossible, it doesn't happen. But statistically, it almost never happens. And when it does, it's usually the spurned ex-boyfriend or the spurned ex-husband who goes and kills his ex-wife or his current wife or his ex-girlfriend. The statistics do not bear out why she has the motive. Well, they say, well, she had said these things before, and that's the interesting thing. Because number one, they say Crystal had no motive. Crystal Cortez had no motive. She wasn't the ex.
Counselor, Judge, at this point I need to object and that the remarks be kept to what they expect the evidence to show.
All right. I expect these police and everybody are going to say, well, Crystal Cortez didn't have any motive to kill her. Really? Robbery is a motive. Here's something that happens. When you go and rob somebody with a gun, it is foreseeable somebody may die. You know, what would you say if this was a robbery of a 7-Eleven clerk?
Excuse me, Counselor, again, Judge, I have to object that these remarks are outside the scope of the statement.
Sustained.
That is the motive. And she had motive. She had motive that you hear about every single day. You will also learn that Crystal is a liar beyond imagination. I want you to think of every big liar as you listen to this trial. Think of every liar. Crystal Cortez, you will see from this witness stand, will be the exponential culmination of all those liars wrapped into one. She lies when it matters. She lies when it doesn't matter. She lies over things that are irrelevant. She lies over things that no one will believe. One of the lies, and this was interesting, and you'll learn this, she says over and over and over and over, I have no telling how many times that she said to the police that her young son was with her when she went to commit this robbery. Now, everybody seems today, I mean, we're not everybody really know, but everyone seems today to agree that the child was not in the car. But she tells this lie. I mean, all that lie does make you look like a horrible mother. But it doesn't matter. She'll lie. And then you're going to find out, and another thing you're going to learn from the evidence. You'll learn that Crystal Cortez thought Brenda Delgado was rich. Okay? That's what she believed. She thought Brenda Delgado was rich. If she thought this woman was rich, then she thought Dr. Hatcher was wealthy. If Brenda Delgado was rich, Dr. Hatcher is wealthy. But we go back to the liar, Crystal Cortez. And they are going to put her up here because they need her to make their case. And she's going to lie. And she's going to admit a lot of lies. Whether she can help herself, maybe she's just one of these people that is incapable of not lying. But you're going to find out that she got the absolute deal of the century. She got a deal like no other deal. She got a deal that beats anything Wall Street could ever sell. She willfully participated in a capital murder with a man named Christopher Love, an offense for which she could sit on death row until she was killed. And in agreement for her to testify against Christopher Love and against this woman over here, she got a deal that would make a Wall Street banker say, wow. She got a deal for 35 years. She was about 23 when this happened. You can do the math. You will learn about our parole laws. Remember they talked about life without parole on this one. Crystal didn't get that. Crystal's
We need to object to the reference to parole law. That's not part of the case.
Sustained.
goes to her state of mind.
Sustained.
You can learn, and we'll do the math, and you will learn through testimony that she got the deal of the century. I'm not a young man, but I'm not an old man. But you'll learn that woman, when she's around my age, will be out among us. With all these people, with you, she'll walk free. She'll walk free. And I'm not old. So here's and then the other fine thing about it, despite the fact that she's the world's biggest liar, despite the fact that she got a deal of the century, the state of Texas now wants you to believe her. They now want you to believe her beyond a reasonable doubt. Well, let me tell you one other thing she told. Here's where she got caught. Here's the fine point. Crystal Cortez will admit from this witness stand, she will say that she planned this out for weeks, that she planned this with that woman sitting over there, that it was thought out, that it was planned, that they worked on it every day. We planned it, we planned it, we planned it. And then she will say, because she is forced to admit it, she's going to say that she and supposedly Brenda in this planning process never gave one thought to what they would say if they were ever questioned by the police. Never gave it one thought. And a school teacher will tell you, a couple guys out on the school playground kind of get their story straight. But she is going to say that they never did it. Now the question is why? Why does she say that? And here's the fine, important part of the whole case.
Again, Your Honor, I need to object. We're getting far outside the scope of open statement.
Sustained.
She's going to say it. And what the evidence is going to show is she can't say what the supposed story was because she didn't have a story with this woman. They got them separated. And what the evidence is going to show, they were interviewing them both. And Crystal knew. So if they had this plan, Crystal just says, oh, and by the way, if we got caught, we were going to say X. And then all the police have to do is go over and listen to the planned story separate from Brenda. And if Brenda said X, that corroborates what Crystal Cortez said. But Crystal Cortez could not tell that lie because that lie would get her caught. Because when she says we had a plan to do something, and they go over and they say, well, hold on, we talked.
Again, object outside the scope.
Mr. Miller.
We have to confine his remarks to open statement remarks.
Sustained.
You will learn. And she's going to say, because she can't say something that could be corroborated. Because there was no plan. There was no statement. There wasn't something to corroborate. The end of this trial, I'm going to ask you to cut this woman loose, find her not guilty, and send a loud, clear message to the state of Texas. We don't believe Crystal Cortez, and we sure don't believe her beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm going to ask you to find Brenda Delgado not guilty because she is not guilty. Thank you.
The state called her first witness, please.
State calls Bonnie Jameson.
Your Honor, we have agreed with the exception of immediate family to invoke the rule.
All right. For those in the gallery, the rule has been invoked. That means if you intend to be a witness in this case, you cannot be in the courtroom unless you're on the witness stand. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you shall give in this cause will be true. Thank you.
May I proceed, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Good morning, ma'am. Please introduce yourself to the members of the jury.
My name is Bonnie Jameson, and I'm Dr. Kendra Hatcher's mother.
Ms. Jameson, I want to talk a little bit about you first. Where are you from?
From Springfield, Illinois.
Springfield, Illinois. That's where you're currently living?
Yes,
Are you married at this time?
yes.
Ms. Jameson, I want to talk a little bit about your family. Do you have any children?
I do. I have 4 daughters and 1 son. Kendra was my 3rd daughter.
So let's start with the oldest. Who's the oldest, and how old is he or she?
The oldest is Jamie, my oldest daughter, and she's 43. And then Ashley is my 2nd daughter. She's in the audience there, and she's 40. Kendra was 3rd. She was 35, so she's 39 now. My son, he's in the audience, my only son. Neil is 38, and my youngest daughter is 26.
Ms. Jameson, I want to talk specifically about Kendra. Where did Kendra grow up?
We grew up in a small little town, Pleasant Plains School District. We were outskirts of Springfield, Illinois, but the school district at the time was Pleasant Plains, Illinois. Pleasant Plains was probably a population of 800, so a very small community.
What was Kendra's last name?
Hatcher.
So, Ms. Jameson, as Kendra was growing up, did she graduate from high school there in Illinois?
All the kids graduated from Pleasant Plains. She graduated in 1998, full honor society, salutatorian of her class, head of the cheerleading squad, head of the volleyball team. She was quite accomplished, as well as my other children. Being in a small town, they didn't have, the internet and all of the things that kids have these days. They were studiers.
So after high school, did Kendra continue her studies?
She did. She ended up with a Bonner Scholarship. She ended up going to DePaul University in Greencastle, Indiana. She had gotten a Bonner Scholarship her first semester. She actually went abroad to Spain. Her major was Spanish. She loved children. She wanted to be able to communicate with the little kids. She started out wanting to be a pediatrician and then switched tracks to being a dentist. So
Let's talk a little bit about that. So after she learned Spanish, I guess, so she could
Yes.
communicate, had a focus sort of toward helping children. What did she do after she graduated from college?
after she graduated from college, she was trying to figure out where she was going to go. She's tired of the winter. She's tired of the snow. She wanted to go somewhere where it was warm. She had actually came down to Texas, checked out the Houston area, and she came up to Dallas, and she fell in love with Dallas. It was a little scary for me, coming from a little small town, but I knew that she would, no matter what she did, she was going to be very well.
Where did she go to dental school eventually?
She graduated, for the dental school, she graduated in 2010 from University of Kentucky in Lexington. She actually loved Lexington too, but she just wanted where there was more bilingual language, since that's what her major was Spanish.
And then I guess she ends up here in Dallas.
She did.
You all right, approach the witness?
May-
Jameson, I'm going to show you a couple of photographs. This is State's Exhibits 1 and 2. Are these two pictures of Kendra?
Here.
Okay. Your Honor, after State Exhibits 1 and 2.
No objection.
Admitted.
So just so the jury knows, here, State Exhibit 1, this is Kendra Hatcher, is that right?
Correct.
And in State's Exhibit 2, we're looking at Dr. Kendra Hatcher.
Correct.
So I want to talk first a little bit about Dr. Kendra Hatcher, the dentist. Ms. Jameson, what was Dr. Hatcher's sort of area of focus in her dentistry?
Kids, pediatrics.
Why did she choose that?
She loved children, even though she didn't ever have any of her own. And she wanted to be able to speak to them in Spanish, take their fears away. She would share with me the most awesome letters that the parents would give to Kendra, saying how the child that Kendra took care of loved her, and she just she was very good at her job.
Aside from practicing dentistry here in Dallas, did she ever go anywhere else? Once she became a dentist to provide services, dental services.
She did. She actually she went over to Spain, and then she went to oh gosh, I just drew a blank. Yeah, she went abroad. I can't even think.
Guatemala, is that?
Yes,
is that what it was?
yeah.
I understand this is difficult, Ms. James.
Yeah, she went over to Guatemala, and she had spent a lot of time over there too, and had a lot of pictures with the kids that she sent back to us that we, of course, will treasure forever. All of her pictures were just kids, with the kids. Everything is with the kids. Crowds of kids. The kids loved her.
Ms. Jameson, I want to kind of shift the focus and talk about Kendra Hatcher and her personal life. Was she married at the time that all this happened?
No, well, not when the murder hit me.
Right.
No.
At that time, was she involved in seeing anybody in any relationship?
She had, our family is pretty close, and Kendra had met Ricky, and her and my oldest daughter are like, they came from definitely the same seed. And she called my oldest daughter Jamie and said that she had met someone, and she was pretty happy. So much so, they'd only dated for a little over 3 months. Kendra was bringing him home September 28th to meet the family.
Of 2015?
Of 2015. Of course, this happened September 2nd, so we never...
This was a pretty serious relationship that they had.
Yeah, it was pretty fast moving, because I questioned her. I'm like, Kendra, are you sure about this? And she said, yeah, I'm bringing him home. I've already bought the plane tickets on September 28th. And September was Kendra's favorite time of the year, the fall festivals and stuff in a small town. And so she wanted all of us to get together and show Ricky what a small town was like with the pumpkins and the festivals. And I said, well, okay, I guess we'll meet him then. I didn't know how Ricky was going to feel about it. We hadn't met him yet, so.
Ms. Jameson, I want you to take a deep breath because I want to talk about what you learned on the evening of September 2nd, 2015. I know that night you and your family received some terrible news. I want you to explain to the jury what you found out that night.
Well, my husband very rarely works out of town. And actually, he was going to be out of town for 4 days that week. This was on a Wednesday. And I'm not one to stay at home alone, but I don't like it, but I did. So we have a 2-story house. I kept convincing myself I'll be okay, just go to bed, watch TV. I did fall asleep, and we keep our phones on the kitchen desk thing, on the chargers. And I woke up to my phone ringing off the hook. And my doorbell was ringing all at the same time. And I woke up and I was scared out of my mind. I didn't know what was happening. And of course my husband wasn't there. And so I crawled down the stairs. The doorbells were still ringing. There was pounding on the door. My phone was ringing. And I crawled across the dining room floor over to put my cell phone on the counter. And I heard somebody outside say, "Bonnie, please open the door, please open the door." And I noticed that it was my son-in-law, Jeff.
What did your son-in-law tell you when you opened the door?
He just came in and he said, "Bonnie, you've got to sit down." And my daughter was sitting out in the car. And they both came in. And he's like, "Bonnie, something has happened." And I thought it was my husband. And I'm like, "What has happened? Please tell me. Please tell me." And he's like, "Dave's on his way home." And then I was like, I knew it was my husband and it wasn't my husband. And they said it was a 2-hour drive for Dave to drive home. And they wouldn't tell me anything. And I'm a mess. I'm a mess. I don't want to know.
So, Ms. Jameson, let me ask you this. For 2 hours, they wouldn't tell you what happened. What did you finally learn?
And Dave got home 2 hours. Dave came in and he sat with me and Jamie, and I said, "Please, please, God, tell me what's going on." And Jamie said, "Mom, it's Kendra." And I'm like, "What? Kendra? What do you mean, Kendra?" And she said, "Mom, she's been shot." And I'm like, "What? What do you mean she's been shot?" And then she said that she didn't make it. And it's been 3.5 years of hell ever since.
Ms. Jameson, thank you for answering my questions, and that's all the questions I have.
Hey.
Judge, I pass it.
I'm very sorry, I don't have any questions.
Okay.
Judge, may she be excused from the
Yes, sir.
witness?
Sorry.
Please call Brad Hill.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this class will be the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
Morning.
Morning.
Would you introduce yourself to the jury, please?
My name is Brad Hill.
And Mr. Hill, how are you employed?
Working for Georgetown Fire Department at this moment.
And what kind of work do you do for the Georgetown Fire Department?
Just I'm a firefighter paramedic, so anything and everything involved with that.
And when we say Georgetown, we're talking about Georgetown, Texas?
Yes, sir.
How far is Georgetown, Texas from Dallas?
Probably about 170 miles or so.
More or less, it's kind of outside of Austin. Would that be a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
Part of the state that we call the Hill Country.
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been with that department?
A little over 2 years now.
I want to turn your attention back to September the 2nd of 2015. How were you employed at that time?
I was working for the Dallas Fire Department at that time.
And what kind of work were you doing for the Dallas County? For the Dallas, city of Dallas?
Same, I was a firefighter and paramedic.
And can you tell the jury a little bit about the training that you have to be able to be a firefighter and be a paramedic?
As far as specifics, just basic firefighter training. I worked at several places throughout the city, several stations. Paramedic, went to paramedic school. I had about 2.5 years as a paramedic with Dallas at that time.
So there's an academy.
Yes, sir.
And then after the academy, if you want to have further training, paramedics, you go to school for that.
Yeah, no, sir. It's just all on the job.
It's all
yes,
part of
sir.
the same thing. Now, turn your attention back to September the 2nd of 2015. Do you recall receiving, or how do the calls come to you?
Basically through dispatch through a CAD system. Gets dispatched at the station, and then we go to our apparatus and we read the notes on the CAD system.
And what station were you assigned to at that time?
Station 18 right here downtown.
And the location that you were dispatched to, how long did it take you to get from your station to that location as best you recall?
Not very long, probably 3.5, 4 minutes.
And do you have any idea what type of call you're responding to?
I remember it coming in as a service call with possible gunshots in the area, and then the notes updated with a possible gunshot wound.
And just kind of tell the jury what you did and what you saw when you got to that location on September the 2nd, 2015.
Okay. Again, we had the notes. When we arrived on scene, we didn't really have any direction as to where to go. We just knew it was somewhere in the parking garage. So me and my partner, and we responded with our engine crew as well, we all went and we just started walking the parking garage. There was nobody to meet us. So I believe we walked around for a few minutes and before we finally got notified there was a police officer on a bicycle that had found the patient. And he directed us to the patient at that time.
And describe for the jury what you saw when you got to that portion of the scene.
We saw a car. We saw our patient laying on her back with the driver's side door open. She was just a little bit up underneath. As we approached, we saw a little trauma, or I saw a little trauma just under her chin. We had a little bit of blood in the area, a little bit of pooling. But immediately, me and my partner just went to work. Didn't waste a lot of time. We felt for a pulse. At the time when we found her, she was just a little bit, maybe chest high underneath the passenger door, or the driver's side door that was open. So we moved her back maybe about 1.5 feet, 2 feet, so we could be able to start our operations. My partner got on her side, and once we didn't feel a pulse, he started compressions. I quickly got an IV in her right arm, and just continued our work from there. Maybe a minute or so before we started to realize that there was going to be nothing coming back from this.
So what would be the initial life-saving measures you would take for something like this?
Initial life-saving in this situation for our protocols, we started CPR. Immediately I got IV access so we can start using the drugs that go with our protocols. After I grabbed that, I grabbed what's called a BVM mask. It just assists with respirations for the patient. At that time, he was doing compressions. I just got access. I had all my equipment pulled out, ready to start breathing, and I noticed there was some blood. But when we pulled the victim back, we saw some blood at the scene, but as I was about to start breathing, we noticed blood was starting to run from the back of her head, so I reached around and found what would have been either entrance or exit wound at the time. I wasn't sure. And at that time, pretty much knew her injuries were incompatible with life. So we ceased our operations.
So when you say her injuries were incompatible with life, you're telling the jury that it's basically apparent that she was no longer with us?
Yes, sir. We noticed there was some brain matter on scene, and with those injuries, there's nothing more you can do.
Is there anything further you do after that?
No, sir. We just we try to clean up the area best we can, but we try not to move anything. We just kind of step aside and let the officers come in.
Our approach the witness, Your Honor.
You may.
So I'm going to show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 56 and ask you if you recognize what we see in this picture.
Yes, sir.
And does this picture accurately reflect what you saw September the 2nd, 2015, when you got to that parking garage?
Yeah. Initially, the driver's side door was open, but we closed it after we moved her so we could have more room.
Okay. And the description you gave of how Dr. Hatcher was found or how she ended up laying on that floor, do we see that here?
Yes, sir.
Now read off State's Exhibit 56.
No objection.
You may.
Permission to publish?
You may.
And again, as you described, that's basically how you found her?
Yes, sir.
And the door, I believe you said the door was open?
It was open at the time, yes, sir. She was underneath it, maybe about up to her chest.
So what we see here as the door being closed was so you and your partner could attempt some sort of medical treatment.
Yes, sir.
And minutes into it, you realized it was fruitless.
Yes, sir.
Looking at States 56, we see two different flows of what is probably blood. Do you see that?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to show the jury what would have been the initial flow that you saw and then the flow that you saw after you moved the body?
Yes, sir. Initially, you could see where she was, where it was forming from there. When we moved her, you could see there was no flow at the time, but with our compressions, getting recirculation of the heart and everything pumping the blood, which is what caused it.
You may.
Screen right here next to you, you can actually touch that screen.
Okay.
And if you could show the jury the first flow, perhaps circle it.
Yes, sir.
And then,
Sorry. This is where she was, kind of in this area. This is where we had to pull her back so we would have access. We closed the door so my partner could be on this side. He started the compressions, grabbed the IV right here, and at that time was when we noticed pulling and everything started to flow from there. And that's when I reached around the back of her head, down the exit, the other open wound on the back of her head.
I think we got the problem fixed. Go ahead and circle those areas again for us.
Yes, sir. It's kind of there. We moved her to here, and that's where you can see.
Thank you, sir. Pass the witness.
No questions.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down your briefing in the courthouse.
All right, sir, we'll call Michael Welch.
Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sir, would you state your name for the record?
Michael Welch,
And for the benefit of the court reporter, would you spell your last name?
Welch.
And Officer Welch, you are with the City of Dallas Police Department?
Yes, sir.
And how long have you been
Just over 17 years.
all with the City of Dallas?
Yes, sir.
And to what division are you currently assigned to?
The Southeast Patrol Division.
And Southeast Patrol comprises what parts of the City of Dallas?
Starts off at Fair Park, South Dallas, Pleasant Grove.
And how long have you been with South Police?
Just over 3 years.
Back in September of 2015, what section or division of the city were you assigned to?
Central Patrol Division.
And what parts of Dallas does Central Patrol comprise?
Central Patrol Division is comprised of uptown, around the American Airlines Center, downtown, the Cedars, a little bit of Oaklawn, and goes out to Old East Dallas towards White Rock Lake.
And going back to September the 2nd of 2015, did you find yourself responding to a call in that district?
Yes, sir.
And tell the jury how you got the call.
Dispatch call over the radio of a shooting, something like that. It's a priority 1, a code 3 call, and a lot of officers respond to that, wherever the address is. This one happened to be at the Gables.
And the Gables is roughly how far from this courthouse?
Just on the other side of the freeway, not very far, maybe a mile at the most.
And back on September of 2015, or September the 2nd, did you also have a training partner with you?
Yes, I was a field training officer, and I had a trainee in my car.
Now, does the city of Dallas, as far as the police department, do they utilize body cams?
Yes, sir.
How long have they been using body cams? As best you recall.
Best as I recall, I think they came around maybe the year or two before September 15.
And back on the day that this occurred, did you have a body cam?
Yes, sir.
Going back to September the 2nd, 2015, officer, describe for the jury what you did as far as getting that call, responding to that crime scene, and what you saw when you got there.
Of course, we were dispatched, or we answered up on the call along with several other elements. We responded to the location. Get out at the location. We have crime scene tape in our car. I instructed my trainee to get crime scene tape. Went up and asked the sergeant on the scene if there's anything that I could do. I knew I had a body camera. I didn't know if anybody else had a body camera out there at the time. And I told him I would go down and film the scene. And then after I was finished filming anything for evidentiary value, I would block off wherever he needed to block off or do whatever he needed to have done.
And can you describe to the jury, after that conversation, what you recall doing?
Yes, we walked down through the parking garage down towards the lower level, saw where all the other officers were. By a white car, saw the complainant laying on the side of the car. She was laying out on her back. There was blood coming out around her head region, her head, and filmed around the car, stopped filming, and went on and blocked off the lower end of the parking garage.
Approach witness, Your Honor.
Yeah.
Now, this location that you responded to, this was September the 2nd of the year 2015, correct?
Yes, sir.
And this was also inside the city of Dallas?
Yes, sir.
Dallas County?
Yes, sir.
State of Texas?
Yes, sir.
Show me what's marked as States Exhibits 33. Did you have a chance to review that?
Yes, sir.
And what's on States Exhibit 33, does it accurately reflect what you filmed that day?
Yes, sir.
All right, read off of States 33.
Yes, just a question on what is that the body cam?
Body
Is that the
cam.
video from your body cam?
Yes, sir.
No objection, Your Honor.
Admitted.
First Republic.
You may.
For the benefit of the jury, officer, tell them what we're looking at right here.
This is myself and my trainee. We are responding to the call. I believe you can see the lights and siren, or the lights flashing up there. Approaching the call location. We're going up right next to the parking garage as it's pulling up here.
Okay, what we see is from the inside of your squad car.
Yes, it is on my body camera that's attached to my body.
You can say about the top of the if you want. They got cameras. Yeah, they're checking out right now. got a hold of a homicide detector. He's waiting on the official call. He was on our head. He knows about it. There's only one homicide detector in the entire state. He's waiting for the official word from dispatch to come out. He's calling back and I need you and your partner, if you will, for me. One night here. Well, let's see, I got one right there. I got so we want to cover that side, 2 people from Golden Street. Okay, that's over here. Yeah, do you want me to take her, or do you need me to take her? Let me go, Bill. I got the thing filming, so you want me to go like that? Okay. And then I'll cut it when we go. We're down there. Okay. Yeah, I'm kidding. She has a lead bag in on her sunlight. She was sitting right here. What should you say? You said that over there, okay? And the weird part is, so that you know, there's one homicide detective in the entire city tonight. He was out in our deal earlier. He had to go to 2 more. He knows about this. Yeah. The other ones are in a different state right now. They went to go pick up a murder suspect.
And officer, looking at, on that video, as you're walking towards the vehicle and towards where Dr. Hatcher's laying, it's kind of hard to tell from the video, but you're actually going down a ramp, aren't you?
Correct.
Pass the witness.
No questions.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
You may stand down for your
Your approach, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you shall give in this cause will be true?
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, would you tell the jury your name?
Moses Martinez,
And would you spell your last name for the benefit of the court reporter?
Martinez.
And Mr. Martinez, you live here in Dallas?
Yes, sir.
Born and raised here in Dallas?
Yes, sir.
have a large family here in Dallas?
Kind of. Yes, sir.
And Ms. Martinez, do you know a woman by the name of Brenda Delgado?
Yes, sir.
In fact, are you related to Brenda Delgado?
Yes, she's my cousin.
You know she's a first cousin, second cousin, third cousin?
First cousin.
And growing up, well, let me ask you this. Is Brenda older than you?
Yes, sir.
Is Brenda a cousin that growing up you would spend a lot of time with?
No, sir.
If you know, in a given year, how often growing up would you see Brenda Delgado?
Every once in a while when my family would throw parties when we're smaller, we'll go to my uncle's house and we'll see her there with all my cousins.
Was she someone, or is she someone that you consider a close cousin?
Not really.
Now, you and I have met several times and talked about some of the things that this jury is going to hear today. Is that a fair statement?
Yes, sir.
And just so that we're clear, you really don't want to be here either. Is that a fair statement?
No, sir. Yes, sir. I don't want to be here.
But you understand why you're here.
Yes, sir.
And you understand that you're here to tell this jury the truth.
Yes, sir.
And that's the sole purpose for being here, is to talk about what you know with respect to this offense.
Yes, sir.
Now, you've already told the jury that growing up, Brenda wasn't a cousin that you saw every day on a regular basis, but y'all hung around each other a lot. Is that a
Yes,
fair
sir.
statement?
Yes, sir.
Back in the year of 2015, did there come a time where she started showing up more than usual?
Yes, sir.
And during that time, she's showing up more than usual. Was there kind of a bad, traumatic event going on in the life of you and your immediate family?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a sister that had gone missing?
Yes, sir.
Did Brenda show up during that time frame?
Yes. Brenda and my aunt showed up whenever my sister was missing.
Did you think anything about that? Did it strike you as odd or unusual?
I mean, I didn't, I just was playing outside and, and they were there asking if everything was okay. That was it.
Did it appear to you that, or did Brenda appear to be trying to be helpful?
Yes, sir.
Now, during this time frame, where she's all of a sudden showing up again, do the two of y'all start to have conversations about Brenda and a boyfriend or ex-boyfriend of Brenda's?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember his name?
Ricardo.
How would she talk to you about Ricardo?
Well, whenever she would talk to me, she was kind of depressed, sad, and she was going through a lot, and was telling me that.
I'm sorry, one more time. She was kind of depressed and...
Whenever I saw Brenda, it didn't look like Brenda. She was just sad, depressed, and was like, she was just sad, and it wasn't her, and then she was just telling me how she felt about the guy and what's going on and everything.
Did she also talk to you about a new girlfriend that Ricardo had?
Yes.
How did she describe, or did she ever describe that girlfriend to you?
She was just mentioned Kendra Hatcher, but
Take your time, sir. Let me ask you this question. Those conversations that you had with Brenda Delgado, did it appear that she was upset about the relationship between Ricardo and Dr. Kendra Hatcher?
Objection to lead as witness.
Sustained.
Can you say it again?
Sure. During the times that Brenda would come over and talk to you about Ricardo, did she also talk to you about Kendra Hatcher?
No.
Did she talk about being upset about Ricky and Kendra Hatcher?
No.
Did she talk about asking you if you would take part in some things that she wanted to do?
Yes, sir. But she would say when she was drunk, she was, when I was saying, like I was saying, she was depressed and she was telling me all this, and then that's when I told my mom. And then that's when the family didn't believe me. They didn't believe
Objection
me.
to hearsays to anybody else.
Sustained.
Without going into anything that your mom said, can you tell the jury what she had asked you to do?
She asked me to, on the time that she was feeling like that, she told me that she wanted me to just scare her, and she said she would pay me. And she never told me that she was like trying to hurt her, but I still told my mom because I took it as...
Again, don't tell the jury what your mom said.
Okay.
But you can tell the jury what Brenda said to you.
That she would help me, and I told her no, I wouldn't do any of that.
Did she offer you money to do these things?
Yes, sir.
And do you recall how much money she offered you?
I don't remember.
I'm sorry?
I don't remember.
You don't remember she offered you money?
No, I don't remember how much, the amount.
But you do remember being offered money?
Yes.
And in exchange for the money, what were you supposed to do?
Scare Kendra Hatcher.
Remember that conversation about a baseball bat?
Yes, sir.
What were you supposed to do with the baseball bat?
Like I said, scare her. I wasn't gonna hurt her or do anything.
We have a moment, John. She had talked to you about a baseball bat, but she had also, had she also shown you a baseball bat?
Yes, sir. Yes.
States Exhibit 136. This would appear to be the baseball bat that she showed you?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'd offer States 136.
No objection to the maps.
These conversations that you're having with her about the baseball bat, the money, about Dr. Ricky, Kendra Hatcher, those conversations taking place at your house?
When she was said about Ricky, it wasn't, I didn't get into all the deal, I didn't know none of that. Like, she would just tell me what she wanted me to do. That's all I know. And I never, and all I did was tell my parents. And then before any of that happened, I wasn't there. I never pictured my cousin doing such a thing, so never in my mind did I cross that my cousin would do that, so.
Reapproach you with Sharon.
You may.
So in the previous hearing, you were asked some of these same questions,
Yes, sir.
and I'm showing you a transcript of what you said back then. Can you
Yes,
read
sir.
that, please?
Right here?
Yes, sir. The highlighted portions.
Okay, how did you...
Read it to yourself.
Sorry?
Read it to yourself.
Yes, sir. I know I said that.
Now, having seen what you have testified to in the previous hearing, what specifically were you supposed to do with that baseball bat?
She wanted me to hit her.
Not just scare her, but hit her.
Yes, sir.
Pass the witness.
Permission to approach?
No witness?
No, permission, yes. No. Yes. This was a baseball that referenced the exhibit, states exhibit 136 is a baseball bat belonging to your cousin, correct?
Yes, sir.
Conversation that you're talking about, she was drunk at the time, correct?
Yes, sir.
Was she?
Yes, sir.
Did people
Mr.
say?
Milner, I'm sorry, would you return to your chair, please? Is there a reason that you're
Yes.
sitting right there?
Yes, Sean. I'm holding the baseball bat, correct?
Yes, sir.
Right? I played baseball when I was much younger. They ask you to hold that bat a second. Have you played baseball?
No.
Never in your life?
No.
Ever picked up a baseball bat?
No.
I want you to look at this one carefully. I want you to tell this jury if that's actually a baseball bat or if it's something different.
It's a baseball bat.
Well, I want you to look at it. Specifically, first of all, feel how heavy it is. Now, USSSA. Does that feel heavy like a baseball bat?
I don't know how it feels.
Just hold it. Does that feel heavy like a baseball bat?
I don't know.
You tell this jury you have never in your life ever picked up a baseball bat.
Never in my life.
Do women play baseball or do women play softball?
I don't really watch sports.
How old are you?
24.
24 years old. You telling this courtroom under oath, this jury right here, that I am a man, I am 24 years of age, and I don't know and cannot tell this jury whether women play baseball or softball.
They do. They play co-eds. But I mean, I don't really pay attention to that.
That is a softball bat, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know the difference.
Well, one weighs differently than another one, doesn't it?
I don't know.
You're standing by your testimony. You've never picked up a baseball bat ever in your life.
The plastic ones, that's it. As a child.
Please take your seat, Mr. Milner.
You made a statement, do such a thing. We know today nothing in terms of the allegations against Brenda Delgado. Nothing involves a baseball bat or any similar device, correct?
Say it again.
The allegation that the state is making against Brenda Delgado does not in any way involve a baseball bat or a softball bat or anything like that, correct?
Correct. I don't understand.
They're not accusing anybody of killing Dr. Hatcher with a baseball bat. Is that a true statement?
Say it again.
Is it a true statement that they're not accusing anybody of killing Dr. Hatcher with a baseball bat, correct?
She did tell me to do it with the baseball bat.
Did anybody, to your knowledge, did anybody ever hit Dr. Hatcher with a baseball bat?
No, sir.
All right. You said do such a thing. You're referring to what the state is accusing her of, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. Just because somebody's accused, that doesn't mean they did it, correct?
Yes, sir.
But when you said do such a thing, you specifically meant what she is accused of, correct?
Yes, sir.
You don't have any personal knowledge as to what happened in that garage to Dr. Hatcher, correct?
Yes, sir.
That's the witness.
Moses,
Yes, sir.
is this easy for you being here?
No, I don't want to be here.
You don't want to be here. And has this entire affair, has it caused a rift in your family?
Yes, and it even tore our family apart.
Now, do you believe that the rift is your fault?
No,
Is there anything you did? May I approach you with this?
You may, sir.
Is there anything you did that caused it?
no, sir.
Do you feel like you've done anything wrong?
No, sir. Just sad.
Show you what's marked as State's Exhibit 79. Do you recognize who this is?
Yes,
And who is this a picture of?
my cousin,
Your cousin who?
Brenda Delgado.
And when we look in the courtroom, you see that cousin in the courtroom.
Yes, sir.
Would you please, and I understand this is difficult, but could you please point to her and describe what she's wearing?
She's wearing black glasses and black shirt.
Would she be the only female at this table in glasses?
Yes.
Are we off of State 79?
Objection to relevancy.
It is a photograph of the defendant at the time that she was initially questioned, and she looks slightly different in the courtroom today, Judge.
Overruled, admitted.
All subject on 403 grounds. Now, there's just no relevance.
On
to
what
it.
grounds?
403, I'm sorry.
Overruled.
And can we let the record reflect that the witness has identified the defendant?
The witness has identified the defendant. The record will reflect.
Pass the witness.
All of the things that you're talking about here in this courtroom, as it relates to this conversation with the cousin, is it a true statement that you never reported any of this to the police or anybody like that?
So you're saying that I should have told the police? Is that what you're saying?
Go back to whenever this conversation happened, wherever it happened, and whatever everybody had to drink, whatever, whether it was daytime, evening time, whatever. The stuff we're talking about, my question is, going back then, did you ever say, you know, I ought to call the police and just let them know, or I ought to call the DA's office and
No,
say,
I didn't, because
pass the witness.
Thank you, sir. You may stand down. Members of the jury, it's about 10:30. Let's go ahead and take a morning break.
All rise.
We'll be back in the jury room at 10:30.
Judge, can you be excused? Moses? Give me the back.
No objection by the defense.
Judge.
I can see Mr. Miller and Mr. Brooks up here just briefly. Gallery may be seated. I'm just saying, for the future, because a lot of people. No.
Yeah, what's he doing? Huh? She in town then?
Yes.
If they don't, copy it. 12 of that.